start getting things like that. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sharn, welcome to my kitchen diner. This is Room Renovation with House Beautiful UK. We renovated our kitchen because I remember coming to view this house and just thinking the rooms were the complete wrong way round. So the kitchen was a little pokey room at the back, the dining room was a lovely spacious room behind us. So it just felt odd having them in that order, so we had to do a little switcheroo on those. Also, we had lots of structural issues, so the ceiling in this room was just caving in. The roof on the back was caving in, so we had to do big structural things anyway, so it just made sense to redo the whole space at that time. So for inspiration for our kitchen, I spent a lot of time scrolling on Instagram, looking at other people's kitchens. I was really drawn to different colours, bright colour kitchens. I was never going to be that white kitchen, grey kitchen girl. And just kind of jumbled all the styles I like together to create this kitchen. So there were plenty of challenges in our renovation. The first one was the diner had quite bad damp problems in the back walls, so we had to deal with all of that underneath all the skin of the plaster before we even thought about making it look pretty. So we discovered that when we started stripping off the walls and the plaster was just falling off in our hands and it was wet, so we had to do a lot of damp proofing work at the back of the house, which slowed down a lot of the renovation, a lot of experts in, and then we ended up actually doing a lot of the damp proofing work ourselves after learning a lot and doing a lot of research. You tear down a bit of wall, you discover something, then you head on YouTube or TikTok and search and find out what you need to do. So a lot of it is very self-taught. So this was actually a full Victorian chimney breast in here, but it didn't have a pretty fireplace at the bottom. So I had this vision of opening it up to have our cooking space, to have our hob in here. So we had bricklayers raise it up. And that was kind of a cheap option rather than taking the whole fireplace out, which would have needed steel beams, would have cost a lot more. So this was the cheap version of that, so we could still have that lovely little cooking space, the little nook in here to turn that into something usable. The biggest splurge in this kitchen was the terrazzo worktops. They were a dream item that I've always wanted in a kitchen. They weren't cheap, but we were able to save in other places. And we got these from a specialist terrazzo company called Love Terrazzo. So much detail in it. We had all these drainer grooves put in as well. They just look so stunning. So where we saved money on the kitchen renovation was we bought a radiator off eBay that was only £150, a big 3-column boy that was a lot cheaper than buying it elsewhere. We used an offcut from the bench seating in the dining room to create a shelf in the kitchen, a lovely little feature shelf, so that was completely free. So we just DIY'd that, so that was a lovely little save. We didn't really have a main theme or anything in this room that we wanted to achieve. We just wanted it to be cosy, we wanted to maximise the space and get as many people around the dining table in here basically. In terms of colour, we carried on this soft pink wall colour from the kitchen just so it felt like one continuous space. We went birch plywood in the bench seating, which I love. You can just see the beautiful grain in it. It's just really fresh and really light and lifts this corner. We had this custom made by a carpenter for us. So we designed it, just scribbling some plans on a bit of paper, worked out the measurements with him, and he kind of just ran away with the design and turned it into this. What's great about it is that it has storage under the seats too, which is excellent for like putting all our garden cushions and bits and bobs under there. When it came to flooring, I always wanted a sort of fancy poured cement floor, but we couldn't have that in here, way too expensive. So we went for a cheap alternative, which is called micro cement, looks very similar. And we went for this sort of light colour, this light grey, again to contrast with the boldness of the green cabinets. I didn't want it all to feel too heavy, I wanted to feel nice and light and airy. And with micro cement floors, you can have underfloor heating, which we have in here. We've got a wet underfloor heating system, so it toasts up nice in the winter as well, which is lovely on the feet. Scheme already started with the green of the cabinets, which is Bavarian Hops by Belspar, and then I knew that I wanted some sort of bold feature wall. I'd spent a lot of time on Instagram looking at the sort of slat wood feature walls, which I love. So we also had all brand new windows put in here as well, and we went for black aluminium just because I wanted a kind of harsh dark colour that would contrast with the light walls. I wanted something that was quite slick as well because the whole kitchen is very slick and modern. So we went for this anthracite aluminium that just frames that sink nicely as well. One of my favourite details throughout the kitchen is the brass knurled handles. These are from Plank. And they're just so pretty, they add a little bit of texture, they're really sturdy as well, love them so much. So the pink tap, it's a boiling water tap by Fowen. It is something that was on my wish list from the very beginning and I absolutely love it. It's so standout. Why would you not want a pink tap in your house? And I didn't know if it was going to match with anything else in the kitchen, but I just went for it anyway because I love it. The sink as well, a dream item, this fluted front butler sink, just something a little bit different to your normal flat front butler sink. I'd seen them online for thousands of pounds and I managed to get this one online for about £450. It was from a website called Architectural Antiques UK. I found one on there and was like, I have to have it. Actually, this is a Victorian design as well, so they would have had butler sinks like this with a fluted front back in the day, and this is a Victorian house, so it ties all those little details together. One of my favourite little gems in our dining space is the cork drinks cabinet. It's from IKEA. And on the outside it's quite unassuming, it's quite a raw, rough material, and then when you open it, it's like got this beautiful mirrored interior and just looks very glam. The kitchen is just the heart of the home in terms of socialising and hanging out. So it's somewhere where we come just to not just to cook, but to chill out, to socialise, to sit and chat, to catch up on the day, to watch telly. That all happens in this room. So it's really, really important that this room was designed with all that in mind, but also that it was just a lovely environment to be in, and I think we've achieved that.